Hi, it's Winona LaDuke, and I was asked to give just a little bit of an update on what's going on with the Enbridge Corporation and the proposed Line 3 pipeline. A lot of people want to know, and I'm just going to try to give a little bit of an explanation for the common person like you and me. So, Judge Ann O'Reilly is the administrative law judge that reviewed tens of thousands of pages of documents and listened to 68,000 people testify at hearings opposing the Enbridge pipeline. And she had to go through a great deal of documentation, and she is the judge that makes a recommendation to those who make the final decision, which is the Public Utilities Commission of Minnesota. So Judge O'Reilly on April 23rd had reviewed all of this documentation presented, thousands and tens of thousands of pages presented by both the Enbridge Corporation and its allies, as well as the citizens of Minnesota. And in that, what she said is this: Enbridge clearly needs a new pipeline because Line 3 is decrepit and is deteriorating in place. It's in a state of deterioration. That's what Enbridge's own attorneys and all of their experts have said. However, she said you should not have a new route for that pipeline, Enbridge. Instead, you should go back to your old route. And that old route is the one that goes along Highway 2 where there are 6 pipelines in it. And you should figure out, Enbridge, how to clean up your mess, essentially, because the issue of abandonment was of deep concern to the judge. She said, if you abandon this line 3, the existing Line 3, as you've told us you will, who's going to be liable for that? Who's going to be responsible for it? And that set a very bad precedent, she felt, in terms of granting a new corridor and also just corporate responsibility in the state of Minnesota. The second thing she said is that she was deeply concerned about liability for a major oil spill or catastrophe, because Enbridge's own witnesses explained that Enbridge, although it's the 3rd largest corporation in Canada, is not actually liable for pipeline liability in its subsidiary of a subsidiary. That is a problem she found, because she found that there was no clear ability of the Enbridge subsidiary, which is proposing Line 3, to clean up a catastrophic mess if there was a catastrophic mess. The third thing that the judge found was that there should be no allocation of a new route, because the new route which is proposed, which clearly goes through the southern part of Hubbard County, through Cass County, Crow Wing County, Aiken County, Carleton County, is a route of pristine lakes. And the environmental and economic and cultural damage that would occur from such a route, she did not recommend. So in the end, Judge O'Reilly did not recommend that Enbridge should get a permit for their proposed route. That's a very significant finding. And at the end of July, on July 28th, is when we expect a full decision from the Public Utilities Commission as to if they take the judge's recommendations. The second piece is that the Department of Commerce, which had reviewed the economics of this pipeline, also recommended that Enbridge should not receive a certificate of need. That recommendation was in November, and that was reiterated as well this spring. So what you have is the 2 agencies that are responsible for granting the proposed permit to Enbridge for its Line 3 recommending against actually issuing the permit or issuing the certificate of need. Now, the Public Utilities Commission is intended to make the final decision, and there is not in record a case where the Public Utilities Commission has gone against 2 significant recommendations by the agencies responsible to recommend to the Public Utilities Commission. A couple other notes I just want to have. Counties, the Minnesota Association of Counties has written to the Public Utilities Commission with deep concerns about the price of, if there is a permit granted, who is going to take care of the people who are going to protect the line. Now, just having said this simply, we don't expect a permit to be granted, but the Enbridge Corporation believes a permit will be granted. And as such, they have gone ahead and begun contacting police forces in northern Minnesota to brief them on what they say will be citizen unrest or protesters, as they say. Now, I am someone who is a water protector. I am not a protester. And I was deeply concerned when I heard that the Becker County Sheriff and the Hubbard County Sheriff had been contacted by the Enbridge Corporation in anticipation of their need to protect their pipeline. So as a citizen of Becker County and a long-term citizen of northern Minnesota, I went in and discussed with the sheriffs of both Hubbard County and Becker County my concerns. And my concerns were, first, that Enbridge doesn't have a permit. And second, that in our experience with Enbridge in North Dakota, they violated a number of laws. To begin with, when the cultural sites were released by the Standing Rock tribe in the Dakota Access controversy, the cultural sites were released in court. The location of them, Enbridge jumped 20 miles ahead through the Dakota Access pipeline known as Energy Transfer Partners, of which they financed, and desecrated and bulldozed all of those sites. Now, the court and the Public Utilities Commission have said that no pipeline construction, if it is approved, can commence until a full tribal cultural survey is completed. That is no way completed. And so we would not expect that Enbridge would violate any laws in Minnesota, but we have no experience coming out of North Dakota of that working out well for us. Second, we were deeply concerned because the Enbridge Corporation financed the Dakota Access Pipeline, and in financing Energy Transfer Partners, when those sacred sites were destroyed by Energy Transfer Partners / Enbridge, people were attacked by guard dogs, and then the situation was militarized. All of that was Enbridge's hand as well. And so, as a citizen of northern Minnesota, I'm deeply concerned at the idea of brutal force being used to protect a Canadian pipeline company. This week, in mid-May, the Minnesota Court of Appeals also ruled in favor of Enbridge in terms of its getting its tax money returned from counties in northern Minnesota. So apparently the Minnesota tax assessor overtaxed Enbridge in a number of northern Minnesota counties. So some of those counties are facing huge tax rebates that they must now return to the Enbridge Corporation, up to $50 million. And so the courts ruled in favor of Enbridge, leaving probably some counties like Clearwater County in pretty tough shape as to how they're going to make some of their bills. How can you get involved and how can you stay informed on these issues? Please look at our websites, Honor the Earth and stopline3.org. Join us in Park Rapids and in other communities as we hold community education events and prayer vigils to pray for our water. Look at where we are. Get informed as to the status of the pipeline, the status of pipeline proposals, and the status of water protectors. And Honor the Earth is announcing in this next week a Welcome Water Protectors campaign. We feel that northern Minnesota is full of water protectors. Thousands of them not only turned out for hearings on pipelines, but have turned out for hearings on proposed mines. The people of Minnesota, we love our water, and we are in fact water protectors. And inasmuch as annually we see welcome fishermen signs and welcome hunter signs, we are now launching a Welcome Water Protectors campaign to say to the people of not only Minnesota, but the people nationally, that if you want to come and enjoy the beauty of our pristine lakes in Minnesota and the many campgrounds and public lands upon which this proposed pipeline would run, this would be your summer to do it. Because indeed, many campgrounds and many public lands are in the way of this proposed pipeline, and there is no time like the present to enjoy the beauty of the north. And so we are encouraging people to come to northern Minnesota, enjoy our lakes, patronize local businesses, and enjoy the beauty that the Creator gave us. HonorTheEarth.org, that's where you can find out. Miguel, thank you.